Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Dundee Sole Podcast. Today we'll have the legendary Dundonian coach, Dundee player. He's the guy that I got described as why Dundee's misfortune was so bad when I was in my early 20s and I had to watch United do so well. So yeah, I'd like to introduce Stevie Campbell. How's it going, mate?
It's going great, and thank you very much for inviting us along.
No probs, man. And
let's see what it brings, hopefully a few funny stories.
Oh, we're going to get the stories out, yeah. We're definitely going to get the stories. And yeah, Steve Bolland, how you doing, mate?
Alright, I'm doing fine. I'm glad you've got him on, because I've been promised a shirt for 35 years ago and I'm just waiting.
He's got you on recording now.
That's it.
You'll get me next week, I promise.
Right, mate, we'd just like to take it back from the start. So what year were you born and where were you born?
1967, St Mary's. Brought up in deepest, darkest St Mary's to a family of, there was 9 of us, counting my mum and dad, so 4 big brothers and 2 big sisters. I was the youngest.
You were the youngest?
Went to St Margaret's School where my mum was a teacher. It's not even there now. It's at Hooses. Actually drove round this morning. And then on to Lawside after that, which is also not there now. So
yeah.
that's when you kind of getting old. You live in Dundee and both your scales are gone. But brilliant time, brilliant memories. St Mary's was magnificent. Loved growing up there, and myself and my wife Susan have driven, because she was the same. She lived at the opposite end of St Morn's. I was at one end, she was, and then I moved into St Farms Road.
So what was St Mary's like in the 70s?
I could remember the gang culture, believe it or not. There was the YMB, there was the AMB, because that was just across. We were St Farms Road eventually. I could remember the man meeting, fighting the curtain huns and all that. But that sounds like it was just pure violence. It was still, I thought, a brilliant place to grow up as a young kid, because all we did was go and play football, you know. And you had places in, like right in St Moni's place, and you had places across into Hardler where the multis used to be. They're not there now. That's a new houses now. But that was where my childhood grew up there, and nothing but brilliant memories. I still meet people now. Sometimes even in the academy, I'm teaching the kids that say, Stevie, we used to play football on the Carpine scale and things like that. And believe it or not, you'll not believe it, Steve, I was playing for Dundee and still living at St Phil's Road. Like Billy Dodds and that used to come, Stevie Frail. We used to jump out of the Carpine scale and play football at night. Duncan Campbell, Paul Ritchie, Paul Mayers. Like, they were dead famous people, and people must have been driving past and on the bus thinking, Dundee team there, you know. And we were just, because we just loved football. It was great. They used to come to my house because my mum and dad had Sky B, I think it was. We were the first ones to get that. So we'd come and watch a game and then jump across the scale railings to play football.
So it was just football.
It was great. It was brilliant. So yeah, brought up there, and I think I started playing at about 4 years of age. My mum was actually the manager of the scale team.
Your mum?
St Margaret's, yeah. She's not here now, but up until recently, she claimed she's still got the best record. Eddie St Margaret's manager.
Did you play her?
Well, Abdi used to say that, so the reason I was getting again. She did. It was actually funny. I was playing against Ogie's team, actually, St Clement's once, doing it at Ardler, and I'll never forget, my mum be the mum, I got a bleeding nose. I just went in a slide tackle, and my nose is bleeding, she's coming around on me a hanky. And I told her to F off, you know what I mean? And I actually remember saying that at a funeral. I had to stand up and say the bit at the funeral. I remember saying that, and when I got to the words, I thought, I'm looking at the priest, I better not say that. The exact words that I said to her, but I just said the second word was off, and she understood. You know, let's just get on with the game. So, great days, absolutely brilliant.
That's mad unique to have your mum as the manager.
Oh, yeah, I think it is unique. So, guaranteed the game, guaranteed 90 minutes. At the time, it was great.
When did Dundee pick you up?
Well, I'd been in at about 12 or 13 training. Believe it or not, no far from where I work now, Stobie Scale. And I was gutted because I was obviously brought up Dundee fan. I'm a fan of Dundee Daft. And I think I trained for maybe about 6 months playing for Downfield Boys Club at the time. Again, they're not even there now. Most of my teammates were from Curtin and were United, apart from me. I was Dundee. So the irony of it, I went to United was amazing. They were on the phone for tickets after about 20 years and they'd seen them. So I actually got big for this at 12 or 13, getting told it was too wee. So I was gutted. I went and trained at Arbroath. Just kept playing away with Downfield, and believe it or not, 2 scouts chatting my door at 16. Boy John King, he was the chief scout. It was Davy Small and Doug Cowie, Dundee legend, obviously. Mm-hmm. They were working at United. The Dundee scout chatted my door, signed that night. following day, United come in for us. But I was glad that I signed for Dundee at 16. It was great. So that was like S form.
Do you remember the feeling of actually getting the sign?
Oh God, yeah. But I mean, you've supported that club. I went to all the games, home and away with all my pals on the bus and all that. It was great. So to actually sign for them was just.
Didn't come through, yeah.
I can remember going out to play for Scotland under 18 schools. So we'd go in and train at dinner time, didn't we, Jockey Scott? And you would go in, but you'd be mixing with the boys that your heroes, you know what I mean? Tosh McKinley and Rob Shannon and Peter Mackey and people like that. So I've still got photos of like training with them. I had this stupid blue tracksuit on. It was a Scotland 18 schoolboys. But in training with boys that were heroes. Then it ended up years later. Teammates, and I made my debut against St Mirren, I think, in 1985, 86, something like that, coming on for Ray Stevens, and beat St Mirren 2-1. So it seems like, well, as an eternity ago, 40 years ago, but brilliant days.
That year, that's like the height of football casuals in the 80s.
Oh, God,
like, it's proper took off at 85.
It was mental. Thankfully, we playing, you were laughing at it, but a load of my mates were.
Well, if you have a look at the picture, of course, he's got the casual flick in there, and the hair down the back and that. Yeah.
No, that was actually the Martin Fry. It was.
I'll take it you took a growth spurt then.
I got fatter. That's for sure. That was in the later days. Probably did. Mind you, my mate was at Tam Carson to the right. He was like 6'3".
Is that Albert Kidd?
It looks like the famous Albert Kidd to the left.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose we've got to ask you about that game. Well, a year later.
Oh yeah. Now, that's the classic game. So obviously made my debut against them. I think I played another couple of games. Clyde Bank was in them, maybe even a derby, because going back to the Downfield Boys Club days, the guy Mr. Stewart and Mr. Hackney, I mean the time they gave up, you didn't realise at the time I signed for them at 9 and played right through, but I remember he shook my hand as it was coming on in a Dundee derby. I lost 1-0. I remember they had a shot, Billy Thompson saved it, but Mr. Stewart was there and just in his United gear saying, well done. Good luck, son. I actually went to see him 10 years ago, turned up at his door in Haldane Place for his 70th birthday, just to say thanks. And he couldn't believe it. He was like overwhelmed, didn't he? His teeth are down in. I'd arranged it to my sister because she worked with his boys at the airport, but it was just after that time, he didn't realise what he'd done to me and what he'd done for me, bringing me up, good habits and that. It was just wanting just a chance to say something. Thanks, I just got a wee big United man, but I got my bottle of whiskey and turned up at his door. Absolutely brilliant. We spoke for about 2 hours just back to all the boys that were played with that. So it was great. So obviously, and then at Dundee, and I could remember leading up to the famous Albert Kidd day.
But see, that what I was going to say was that Dundee team is definitely. I mean, we were talking earlier on about Canadians and all that, but that Dundee team for me, that's my favourite Dundee team of all time. 84, 87. Yeah. So that, especially that 87.
You're saying that over like Caballero and Canadian,
yeah.
No,
that's my favourite Dundee team.
Yeah.
That was that Dundee team were underachieving.
Yeah.
We should have won something. We should have won something.
I wasn't born.
So, but I mean, you're going into that dressing room. You've got massive characters in there. John Brown, Bobby Glennie, and that. There's no way we're not going to take any crap off anybody.
And Bob was. I said this at my wedding actually, even when I was at United at the time. Bob was like my hero because he was probably someone that doesn't happen.
Same as me.
He was somebody that is just pure that club. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dundee Football Club. It sort of doesn't happen now. I don't want to be a moaner that way, but you get attached to players now and they go the year. You know, they're unknown.
Well, it was, that team was there.
Archie Knox brought most of them in 84, 85.
And there wasn't much changes. There wasn't many changes.
John McCall. Yeah. I mean, the list is endless. And Graham Harvey would be there as well. Just absolute.
Is that Jockey in the middle?
Jockey was the number 2.
Yeah.
Jockey was the number 2. So Jockey also was our like youth coach as well. Jockey took us to the BP Youth Cup and all that. And an amazing coach. I mean, to start my career with Jockey Scott and Archie Knox, I then went on to work with, I think, about 50 coaches. Some of them tremendous. So for Craig Brown, Andy Roxburgh, Craig Levine and Jim Duffy. Top coaches. But I didn't realise it doesn't get any better than Jockey Scott and Archie Knox. That was, I remember I was going to be a teacher because my mum was a teacher. And I got on my qualification, and I remember going to Germany on pre-season just when I'd signed, and it's getting on to Albert Kidd story, obviously. But I remember I'd signed S for him when I was going to try and go part-time. And I remember saying to Archie, the gaffer, I'm okay to be a maths teacher. I want to be a maths teacher because I applied for that, I'd got my hires, ready to go. My mum had been a teacher, my brother was a teacher, I was a teacher. So it was in the family, Maureen as well. So I'm thinking, great, I'll be a teacher. And Archie says, well, you don't want to be a football player? Yes, I'm offered you a contract here. There was a pre-season tour of Germany, me and Oaks were there. And he says, but Morris Martins last year did it. He won the league with United and all that. Canelo do the same. And he just says, Stevie, sign full time. Oh, fuck off. I says, give us a pen. That was it. So a year into it, we'll come to the end of the season. They played about 4 or 5 games, I think, coming off the bench. And
sorry, what age are you at this point?
17, 18. So I can remember we trained at the NCR. We're playing Hearts the next day. They'd went 27 games undefeated. Celtic were a bit like now, playing catch up. And
do you remember? See that season. I remember us going to Tynecastle and we got beat 3-1, and Dundee played really well that day.
Yep.
And I remember they were going on about this record, and it kept going on and going on. And me and the old man had said right from the start, Dundee are going to beat them that last game. And everybody knew it. Every Dundee fan knew it because we'd played that well.
That's true.
Against them.
But they were such a machine. They were so hard. They were so organised. Big players as well.
Yeah.
Kenny Black and Cahoon and John Robertson, Sandy Clark and all that. So they were quite formidable. But I remember Archie speaking with us sitting on the bar, and it was a beautiful hot day on the Friday. Rangers were playing Motherwell. So if we win, we'll get into Europe. That didn't happen to us with Dundee. I can remember Archie actually saying he would offer Motherwell a bonus now if I could beat Rangers off the record, obviously. So anyway, thinks now I know it, goes in the next day, he hadn't named the subs. Obviously there was only 2 subs in the days. So goes at wow. But there was a wee lassie, Marie, that sort of like your Laura Hayes, she worked and done the team lines and all that, and she went, good luck today, Stevie, you're on the bench. I says, oh right, great. Goes in, listens to the team talk, listens to the 2 subs. I think it was John McCall, number 40, that would expect me. Albert Kidd. I'm like, what? So, left out, gutted, but little did I know that it would go on to be one of the most famous days. He comes off the bench, scores 2 incredible goals. Well, the funny thing was, when I was at United, I remember having a wee sesh with Levine one day, because I was scared of him. But I tell him, remember, Stephen, I said, by the way, you would have been a league winner. What are you talking about, Stevie? I said, that was meant to be me on the bench. I said, I wouldn't have scored 2 goals, did you? I said, they want to.
That second goal was honestly incredible.
Brilliant. Favourite bit of it. It was horrible for the Hearts. So I've sat up the stairs, obviously. Because I went back to Marie and she said, Stevie, I've done the team lines. I said, well, you were on that bench. And I was reading Archie's bit recently, Albert's bit, recently, because it's come out against 40 years. And Albert had said, at some interview, he must have done it for BBC or something, he says, I wasn't even meant to be on the bench. I chapped his door the night before. And I heard that he'd said, oh, Stevie will get his chance. He's this young boy. I will unlock Hearts. I'll get through them. And he was true to his word. It was great. My favourite, though, I went out that night and he had the Sporting Post under his arm. All night, did the move, he was drinking with his left hand. And the headline was, Albert breaks Hearts. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Following season, first game, play Celtic. And there's supporters clubs named after him, and he said to me, wait to see the cheer when I get out. And right off he goes out for a warm up. Bigger cheer than Charlie Nicholas and that. And that's it. It's just history. And no many people.
Do you remember
no many people can that should have been me. You know what I mean?
Do you remember the announcement at half time? Do you remember? They announced at half time.
I'm probably still sick that I've not had again.
For the Hearts fans to stay off the pitch when they won the league.
Oh my God. Well, they came on the pitch.
They came on to fight at one point, and then
did they really?
Yeah, they come around. If you see it,
we were sat behind Wallace Mercer, and it was horrendous for them, obviously. But later with the sort of internet and that day, so we just heard later that Rangers had won 2-1 and that we weren't in Europe. But there was still a euphoric thing because you Kent you'd stopped. They made history, you know what I mean? None more so than Albert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's mad how relevant it is now, 40 years on, and like how.
But the problem Albert's had is he's had to move to Australia because he was getting boxes of jobbies sent him for months. He was getting boxes of jobbies sent to the Hearts fans. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. Yeah, absolutely true. But he's. I don't think he cares.
No, he doesn't matter.
What, he moved to Australia to get him off it?
To get him off the boxes and jobbies he was getting.
Oh God! So the next season, what was it? 87. What was that like?
Again, it was just sort of in and out the team, if not even that, playing the reserves. And that was a year, lucky enough, went to Chile and played in the World Cup. Which was magnificent.
Got to the quarter-final.
Got to the quarter-final. Craig Brown was in charge. And funnily enough, it should have been people like, say, Ian Durant. Derek Ferguson. Derek Ferguson. That's Barry's dad, isn't it? I think, is it? So people like that, but they were playing the first teams. So they had to tack what they call the second-rate team, although everybody else that we played against, and there was like about 30 odd teams in it, they were all their first teams, you know what I mean? And Yugoslavia actually won it, which was your Prosinecki and Boban, and they became Croatia and ended up, so they were top teams. But Scotland were like a reserve team, if you could call it that, because it was our boys that clubs wouldn't have let their players go because it was in October. And that's funny because George McGeeche's testimonial played Liverpool that night, and I think it was 4-0 Liverpool, wasn't it? Brilliant. And people always get that mixed up because Ed played in the next team, because we were in Chile when that happened. Ed played in Bobby Guedes'.
Yeah. That's at the one in 89.
Tell you a few stories of that. It was brilliant, best night out of my life, and a great day to play against the Liverpool legends. But yeah, Chile, it was great. So we went to as unknowns. I mean, there's still great players of our team like Billy McKinley and Alan Main and all that, but a lot of them were playing the first team, didn't get to play. We beat East Germany on the first game, and we were getting called con men and all that. But we went to Chile, and it was unbelievable. A month out there, just treated like absolute kings. Craig Brown, for as great a manager as he was, pulled an absolute masterstroke. We used to train in the morning, and then in the afternoons go to schools. I mean, you think St Mary's and Kirton that are bad. You've never seen poverty like this in Chile. It was incredible and horrendous. It was so sad to see. But we were doing Scottish country dancing and that. We were thinking, hell of a day again with Brian Welsh and all that. And Scott Nisbet for Rangers. But anyway, we won the fans out. So there was 4, like in the real World Cup, you're staying in a hotel with Bahrain, Colombia and East Germany, and that shows how long ago it was as well. When we get to the game, played in Valparaiso, there was 15,000 at the game, and Scotland fans, and Scotland flags, lining the streets and that. Now, you're the wife, I'll be honest, it was great, because I'm thinking, what? And that was how the locals had supported Scotland, and I think that spurred us on to qualify. We drew with Bahrain, typical Scotland, you do well the first game, and they were the European champions, I think we beat them, and I've still got Matthias Samers, who's stuck in the, or maybe I've not, Susan maybe put it in the Riverside dump, but that was just brilliant. Then we drew with Bahrain, and we had to try and play Colombia, and that's when I got Escobar's shirt.
Yeah, because that's what I got told today. Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous.
Escobar, he was killed in '94 for scoring the own goal in the World Cup.
The 2 Escobars and all that.
It was something to do with it was a cartel. Something to do with the cartel bosses that killed them. Yeah, it cost them like they'd bet against it or something.
And I think he'd even went out to celebrate being in the World Cup and all that. I think of course there was big cartels that were saying no to win this game and all that as well.
It's crazy that a guy lost his life because of an own goal.
I couldn't believe it that I'd played against him. I was like, geez. The same happened just recently in the academy. We had David Babinski, who was an absolute legend of a boy. Obviously United's captain. We boys are not even want to do with classes running across getting his autograph, man. But right at the end, I played against his dad as well for Scotland 21s, no long after Chile. That would be at Tynecastle. I think we got beat 2-0. Yeah. And that was the day that I think I played against the best player I've ever played against, which was Robert Prosinecki. That boy was just, he ended up at Barcelona and ended up at Brecon. So I don't care what he was just phenomenal. Smoked fags in a hand, but he was just on a different planet. Just ridiculous. But back to that season, 87, what a year. And I did, in the games that I did play was obviously great. Come off the bench and beat United 3-0, but you were mentioning earlier. Made the last goal for...
They just came back for the European match.
United were phenomenal in their days, just...
the Jim McLean's team,
Cup finals and all that.
But we did well against them.
At the Nationals, but the derby was like a real flaming. But we went there probably 10-1. Beat
them easy that day.
Beat them 3. I think Del Shannon scored in, didn't he?
Yeah, Del.
And Half got 2. Yeah. Lucky enough to make the third goal. And you were winding me up a bit.
What was the story?
Grabbing Half's bum cheeks.
Graham Harvey goes on, he gives him a wee squeeze as he's celebrating.
Still seen it on.
Yeah.
TV recently. But that was it.
Was that the first time you beat United?
That was, I only played in 8 derbies, but that was only 2 that we played in another in the 90s. It was Billy Dodd scored a penalty. Yeah. That was Simon days. Because United,
that was the Kelly Scottier shot.
That's right. They was just so good at that time. But playing at derby was magnificent. The 3-0 was the best because I was only 19, maybe 20 at the most.
You swung the ball.
I remember going out, got that night, did the better drink that night. Dundee Francis Ben, drink that night, Cloisters and places like that. You'll remember that. Fat Sam's and that was good. Great days, absolute brilliant days.
That was
Jockey's team. That was Jockey's team. Archie had went to Aberdeen with Fergie, and then went on.
Jockey made them better.
But Jockey was a phenomenal coach. Then moved up to be manager. People always said, was he a better coach? Well, I think he was good at both, and he was probably one of my favourite coaches of all time. No realised at 17, 18, but he taught me the game. Come across him years later when he was at Dundee with Jinky and Barry Smith, man, good pals of mine. Not unfortunately, but I was at United at the time. Unfortunately for them because they didn't want to speak to us at that time. But joking aside, we always got on well. And Jockey was brilliant. He moulded that team, signed the Cobra, the Mongoose, and that just brilliant days. Absolutely brilliant days.
See the Scotland when you went to Chile. So I remember you playing in 3 under-21 games, especially one. There was one at Dens we played against Switzerland. There was a big crowd. I'm sure you played. Did you play in that? Did you not play in that?
I played at Tannadice, believe it or not.
I thought you played in the one at Dens.
I played at Tannadice against France.
Ah, yeah. I was at that.
3-2.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Mark was just speaking about it. I've got Jimmy Mark in my academy as well. His 2 grandsons. It was Ryan Dow's son that I coached at United. We were just talking about it. My brother said it's a 40, but Jimmy was one of the overage players, and Mike Galloway was Celtic Hearts. You're allowed 2 overage players at that, but I played it. Tannadice lost 3-2. It was funny because my brothers were at the game and I was getting pelters because I was playing for Dundee at the time, and Andy and I had to leave because we said he was going to bang somebody's bus for getting his pelters. I got man of the match actually, and that's when I've got Didier Deschamps. After that's where he went on to be certainly more famous than me as well.
So there's a story I want to
get.
I
think I played Yugoslavia, Tynecastle, and I think the other thing, what would I be? Oh, I'll tell you what, it was Norway away. It was my debut.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this. Obviously then going into the coaching game, I'm warming up and going on at half time in Norway for Scotland under 21s. Nervous, I never believed in myself. I never thought I should be there. I think Davy Robertson was injured, so I got in. And I looked up in the stand and he came down to say, all the best, was my manager, Dave Smith. Now I know Coco got absolute
he was a nice
as a
bloke,
manager.
He was a nice bloke.
But see, for a young player to see your manager come and watch you in Norway and give you that, I think it made me go on to play decently, you know what I mean? It was just brilliant to see it. He was different.
Yeah. He got the same vibe as Presley, but he was a nice bloke and he got some good results. Won twice against Celtic in the same season.
Incredible. Yeah. It was funny, I'm glad they did, but up until just that game recently, my claims to fame was to play in the last Dundee team at Dens to beat Celtic 1-0. And I made the goal.
Yeah, that was.
I had a hand in the goal.
36 years ago or something.
37
you played the bar up the line, did you?
I played the bar up the line, keeps like dummies up, crossed it for Tam Coyne, and that was the last time up until the game last year, wasn't it? Brendan was still in charge, wasn't he? So it was mixed emotions for me. I'm thinking, that's my record's gone, but a great result for the D's. But brilliant. The next day I was absolutely gutted because I failed the test in the morning. I got a needle in my groin. Because I'd been playing most of the games.
Is this the 3-2 game?
The 3-2 game, and we'll go through the Parkhead, and I'm actually sitting in the stand with Big Paul Ritchie, my mate, because he's like left out as well, and we're 2-0 down.
Yeah, 2-0 down after 20 minutes.
Thank God I've got a groin injury, but I get an absolute dude, and we won 3-2. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
The Parkhead,
We're 2-0 down after 20 minutes, and we're 3-2 up at half time.
Really?
Yeah, and we won 3-2.
Stevie Frail scored.
Yeah, Graham Harvey.
My good mates, and Graham Harvey. And Stu Rafferty.
I was out that night.
Incredible.
I was out that night.
That was Dave Smith, who was like, most Dundee fans thought, the best manager.
He come away with a poem, though. Mind on after it, he come away with some poem on it at night.
I think my brothers have still got it, believe it or not. I think it was Browning or something.
Yeah, it was Browning.
So there you go. It was just different. Probably Dundee's version of Ivan Golick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was,
just different from what you've been used to. Brought up with Archie Knox, Jim McLean, Jockey Scott, suddenly, and Wax Dave Smith. You're like, jeez, he actually, a true story, training one day, you'd usually go up to the NCR with jockey, flaming boxes, doing a warm up into possession, crossing and finishing, whatever. So if I got the girl and he's got Abdi in, and it was at the time when Raf and Am were starting to slag him, thinking, we're not sure he's got knowledge here. So he says, right guys, what we're going to do something different today. I'm like, well, that'll be good. He says, I'm going to count to 20. On you go, hide and seek. Dundee Football Club, honestly. People are climbing up trees, people are climbing into windies, underneath cars and that. Hide and seek. Okay. We lost 3-0 on the set. And we got relegated. I wonder why. But it was unique. I never took that into my coaching. Like I took many other.
I was going to say, what was the benefits of playing hide and seek?
Who knows? We got about 3-0 on the Saturday, so. But
he was playing hide and seek.
That was Dave Smith. And then Gordon Wallace come in.
Yeah.
I think after that, just unfortunately died just no long ago. Incredible.
So see your list here. This is what I want to ask you, right? So you've got a list here, right? Now, you played for Dundee, you played for Coleraine, Livingston, Brechin, Scotland under 21s, Scotland under 19s. You've done all your coaching, and you've been a manager. You've coached with Dundee, coached with Inverness, coached with Dundee United. Now, you went to Lost Side, right? You went to Lost Side. Tell us about your Rangers career.
Come on. Again, I think it was 87. So I'm not playing the first team, playing the reserves. But Walter Smith had been at United. So he cared as well. He'd went to Rangers with Souness. And Rangers were going to win a youth tournament. And they were allowed to take 2 guest players. So they took a boy from Aberdeen. And then Jockey pulls me in his office and says, Stevie, would you want to go to Rangers? I've been brought staunch Catholic out my mum. St Margaret's, as I was saying, church every week. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'd love to go to Rangers, but, maybe not the best thing, but honestly, treated like royalty. Measured as that jockey, actually measured before wasting that time, and the Rangers Blair Land came.
That's what school you went to, didn't it?
Well, that was the first question when I got there, because walking out of jockey's office, it was funny, because he just said, Stevie, by the way, I meant to mention. And I said, what is it? He went, don't tell him you're a wine grape. I'd never heard that. I thought it was a wine grape? What's that? He went, fucking bait. I went, oh, right, I'll not be telling that. So goes down to beat them. And funnily enough, we'd actually played a reserve game on the Thursday night, beat them 5-1 Rangers. Mark Falco and that were playing. What's the goalie's name? Rounded him to score a goal. He played for Ross County and after it. Walker's Chris, Nicky Walker. Yeah, he was playing. It was right good. So we pumped him 5-1. I'm thinking, geez, I went on the with them the next day. But goes the next day, and it was actually Peter McCloy that was in charge. Sits down with the other boys, John Spencer, Gary McSween, and that. First question I asked, what scale were you at, Stevie? And then just said Lost Side. I forgot to mention the RC bit, because I thought, better not say that. First game we played. We went to France, won the tournament, came back. They asked us again in September to go back. I went back, by which point John Brown had signed for them, for the real Rangers, and told them what side I was on. I was like, oh, for God's sake, how could I go back? But I remember that time we played in Torino's second team of Torino's stadium, and it was a place like this, and I had a big mural of the Pope in the dressing room. And I'm sitting there with Rangers gear and that and on. Goes back for the warm-up, comes back in. Peter McCloy, and Jimmy Nicholl was there at that time as well. Peter McCloy, and they're just going through the set piece and that. And I'm looking for the photo of the Pope. I took it down. I was like, jeez. But it was great. It was absolutely.
The thing is, this is 3 or 4 years before they signed Maurice Johnson.
That was, I think.
Before the same time.
I think I was the first. And I actually, will be honest, I remember Steve Martin saying to me, you want to tell your mother that you've been singing the sash? Because we won the thing, and I'm up on the tables now and singing the sash. You can't beat them, join them, you know what I mean?
What year was that?
Oh, 87, 88 or something.
Yeah,
like
it was early
when
on.
did Souness go to Rangers? Was that?
Yeah, just after. Yeah, because I mean, they didn't decide. I mean, I think there was a Catholic had signed decades before, but I don't think nobody ever mentions it. But they did have the policy no Catholics, and they did ask.
So you're technically the first there? Well,
probably.
Yeah, probably. Technically the first that got away with it.
John Spencer was as well. And he made the first team and all that as well, but was never out there, was it? If he was or no,
but see,
I kept it quiet, put it that way.
But you saying Lost Side though, it doesn't sound like a Catholic school.
No, I just omitted that. I
think it's funny though.
Oh, it was great. It was brilliant. But I can remember coming off the bench for Dundee at Ibrox the first year.
You did something.
It was 5,000. I think I had it.
You did something. I remember that.
But it was 5,000 the first time. We went back the following year with Souness, 45,000 playing. Incredible. I did a wee stupid then. and I got into trouble for it.
Yeah.
I think it was.
He did he crossed himself because he was getting shite. Just to wind them up, and it was never forgotten.
It wasn't as bad as Albert Craig. Remember Albert Craig?
Yeah.
He went to tap a corner, and he was a big Celtic man, and it was obviously the Rangers flag on the corner. Blew his nose in it, and they were going absolutely mental. But great days.
But they didn't ken you were a former player.
No, that's true.
It was different days, to be fair, is
it? God, yeah. But even, I must admit, I remember Miss Tyndall offered me money for my Rangers blazer, and but I wanted to keep it low. I wasn't never a Rangers fan. I kept it, and I kept the strip. It was the brilliant strip, came with the wee squares, like Durant and that. It was in, I think, the most famous Rangers strips. And to play for them was great. We actually won the best tournament.
The Hughes Lager one.
That was it. Man of the Match award, Kangaroo Baits at worth 150 quid. Great. But obviously, no many.
That didn't end with the dump as well, did it?
People ken that. But one of my favourites, I was telling you earlier, was Bobby Geddes' testimonials. So that'd be about 8 to 9.
Yeah,
that's the Liverpool strip you've got, is it?
Yeah, I've got Douglas's strip from that.
Yeah. Do you go back to the Sands?
What ended up in Buddies?
Buddies
at the time. But it was just so surreal. We'd played on the Saturday. I think we played Hearts on the Saturday. I'd played, but on the Sunday we came in and we played Liverpool. And of course, at that time it was like legends. Sure played against John Barnes first half.
That was the last great Liverpool team before they won anything in the last few years.
I'm playing left back. That's John Barnes, obviously taking. I think they were playing in second gear. Jan Molby, Aldridge, of course, King Kenny come off the bench.
Remember what played for the first game? Ray Houghton, that was his first game.
That's right,
that was his first game for Liverpool.
Just legendary. I'm sure Hansen would have played, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Hansen was in that team, I think.
And Grobler. I'll tell you a story about Grobler. So Grobler's in the goal. So I'm thinking, bloody hell, they're not even trying, but they're still taking the mick out with half time. Barnes goes across to the other wing. I'm like, you beauty. Peter Beardsley comes against, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. So, run ragged, but we'll actually only got about 3-1 time. They were just kidding on. The best bit about it was Marty Bell kicked the game off. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So, of course, wet were massive at the time. We goes down to the Earl Grey, and we're mixing with other Liverpool Steve McMahon and that as well. What's his name? Steve Nicol. So they're at one table, we're at the other, the Dundee boys. Brilliant. Next thing they say to Marty, come on. So we've had our tea, we've had a few bevies, and I always remember going down to Grobler and saying, I can't get my Budweiser open. It was these screw taps. Put it in his head and just went like, oh, there he goes, son. Like, cheers. Just legendary. So ends up, Marty stands on the table, gives it Temptation, Angel Eyes. It was just brilliant. I'm sitting there again, like I'm saying about the Canadian thing. You're sitting pinches yourself thinking, is this Marty Bell? Is this? And then John Barnes comes up and does the Digger rap. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think it was like me to sing Mary's Prayer, Danny Wilson. I was like, nah, I don't think so. Definitely not. But it ends up going down to Buddies. And it was also Paul Sturrock's testimonial. So Ian Botham and I are there. And we get in the VIP room. And honestly, me and Stevie Frill, he was fucking Kenny Dalglish about our night because that was his hero. But I think I had about a tenner in my pocket. That's all the money I had. And you're mixing with these boys, it must be absolutely loaded. Trying to get me drink.
John Barnes was on 12 grand a week at this point, I think.
And I've got a tenner in my pocket. Couldn't know even enough for a taxi in for Buddies. You know what I mean? Great days. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Superb.
Yeah, because you went on about that because they came twice, didn't they? 87
they loved it. That's how they come back. They loved
came
it.
Back.
They loved it for the first time, so that's how they came back. No problem.
There you go.
Yeah.
4-0 the first time, 3-1 the second time.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the famous Liverpool team, is it?
Yeah,
they were incredible, absolutely incredible.
Was this before or after Hillsborough? Because that's the Candy strip. So it's 89.
Hillsborough
was just before.
Hillsborough was 88.
Yeah, it was about a year before.
We played them the year before, and we played them the year after.
Oh, so that one was after.
No, Hillsborough was 89.
No, you're right. Yeah, 89. It must have been.
So we must have played them no longer from Hillsborough.
It was.
Yeah, crazy.
God. Mental.
So when did you start the coaching then, bud? Since Stevie gave with the list of all the teams you played.
Yeah.
But the some mad achievements come with the coaching.
I think it was Livy days. So obviously after that, won the league with Dundee. That was a great year. Simon and Duff, 91, 92. I think that was. Is that strip, Steve, I think?
91, 92 is...
No, that's
it's not, yeah.
There's no there.
That's not there.
But that was a great, probably my highlight of being a Dundee fan and winning the league that year. up to the Prem. It was always just the first division, but it was great. And we pipped Partick Thistle. Got Baby Control as usual. Baby Controls on the last day. We still had a great night. Ended up in the D Club and the drinking champagne.
Did you play in the Partick Thistle game where we won 6-2?
I did, yes.
That was mental that day.
Jinky scored. Jinky ran off me to score, and of course we ended up coaching again later, and he used to wind me up about it all the time. Eddie Gallagher.
Duffy was playing for Partick.
That's right, and that was a great game. One of my favourites that year was Clyde Bank. Obviously they're back in business now, but we went through to play them, and I was at Kilbowie, and Ed got Ken Eady sent off. He'd stood on us, and Ed made it a bit melodramatic, and I got him sent off, so the Clyde Bank fans or something gave me pillars, but Ed scored the equaliser. Beats laid it across, and just took a wild swipe at it right in the bottom corner. Usual kissing the shirt hand, great. But at the end of the game, my mum and dad were there with my brother Mike to give a lift in, and I got attacked by these Clyde Bank fans. Unbelievable. So I go on the Monday, and Ian Monroe pulled us in. He says, Stevie, great going on at the weekend. He says, but I think you're going to get done for assault. I says, what? Me? I said, what that for? Clyde Bank. He says, well, they've ended up in hospital, so somebody must have battered them. It was Eddie Gallagher. I didn't get. I jumped in my brother's car on the way up the road. Finds it on the Monday. Eddie was just a wee tiny, but he battered hell at them. But that night, I go by down the fort. Never went down the ferry. I was in that dude after the game. I'm doing it, going with the fort. Was the first bit of whack in the Ken Eady. Couldn't believe it. I was like, he was about 6'4". I thought I've got him sent off. And he was a Clyde Bank legend, but he was brilliant. Bought us a drink, and we just got on with it. So football great. The other side of it is something's the best. It was saying to Steve earlier, just before Christmas there, half of that team came up and we went out in Dundee, and Roger stayed in the Malmaison, and we went from there, believe it or not, to the brilliant sights of the Logie Club in Lockheed. But we sat in a wee room, and it was just brilliant to catch up. As I said to you earlier, that was my heroes, the day become my teammates, and it was great. It was absolutely brilliant. It was a superb night. We ended up doing the ferry, and even my brother Mike, Colin's a bit of a selling man, but Mike was there. My brother-in-law, Brian, my other brother, he's not into football, but Mike was like in his element. He's 65, but to see his heroes walk in, he's getting photos and all and doing this. Brilliant, I absolutely loved it. And that's the best thing about football and coaching as well. Obviously, to get on to that, I think it was when I left Dundee and I went to Coleraine for a year and a half. Well, that was mental. Oh my God, that was an eye opener as well. Talking about the law side and the RC stuff. I could remember again my brother and I hadn't seen us play for ages because I was one. I used to fly over. I trained with Dundee still. Neil McCann would get us a lift down to Prestwick Airport. I'd fly across on the Thursday night because they were part-time.
But of course,
train on the Thursday night and then play on the Saturday. And I could remember actually, I wanted to get him either Fatties or the Stills. I came home once on a flight at 6:10 with my strip on. That's how pathetic I was. I was such a Dundee boy. I had to get him. But when we played a cup game, my mum and dad had come here with a game on the Monday, so I had to stay here there. So we played on the Saturday against Portadown. My mum and dad had come here, stayed in Dublin, come up with Mike and Joe. And I had an absolute nightmare. The boy was Martin, scored 2. But I thought, I'll get a chance to mark up for it on the Monday. Because I thought, if those seen us play for ages, I had an absolute disaster. Beat 3 now. Joey Cunningham, the boys, right with your flying machine, scores 2. Monday night we're playing Cliftonville. Of course, that's the only Catholic team in the north. I'm like, oh God, I hope nothing bad happens. I get sent off. Trying to mark up to my mum and dad. I get sent off after about 25 minutes. End of the game, we're locked I'm in the dressing room anyway for ages because I'm waiting on the team coming in and get beat 2-0. And there's a full-scale riot, petrol bombs and that going on.
But when you were there, it was still going on. That was it. The troubles were still happening.
It was actually a ceasefire. It was a ceasefire. It was 94, but it was horrendous. Coleraine was like up the top, and it was a beautiful place. Port Rochdale, great, but that was scary. And then thinking, my mum and dad are out there. They did park their car just at the back in the car park. My brother, his wife, but they were telling us later it was like horrendous, this fighting, this kind of like you'll see a Rangers fight, even worse than that. I remember coming home on the ferry the next morning. My dad says, "I think it's time to come home for Ireland." I thought, I think you're right after what you saw last night. So I did. I went to Livingston, and that's answer your question, Chris. Sorry. Started coaching because Livy were half part time, half full time. So to mark up with wages, we had to go out and coach at the schools. got a bit of a buzz for it, and then believe it or not, obviously, good pals with Ray Farningham at Dundee. I think he was taking the 18s and the S form. No, it was S forms, and he moved up to 18s. And so there was a place to start the S forms, which was Lee Walkie at that time at Stobie again, where I started off my 30-year-old training at that time. So I think Lee Mayer, Gavin Rayland would come down. It was some squad, so we actually started doing that.
So that was the first squad.
That was the first squad that we had, and then I left Livy, went to Brecon, went to college with Kenny Cameron, who was my boss at the college and at Dundee. He was the head of youth, and Kenny was a godfather. He was like Jim McLean. He'd been at United, dead successful youth system, come up to Dundee, and we were so successful, honestly. Jinky, especially with Scout Jim Carlin. I think we got 45 players in the first team over about a 5-year period, and that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I then went full time. My team was like Paul Dixon, Scott Robertson, Kev McDonald, Craig Forsyth came through later, but prior to that was your Dave Mackay, Lee Walkie, Lee Mayer, Gavin Ray, Soapy, Jamie Langford. The list is endless. Real Rube, Stephen Mullen, Graham Bain. We've really got so many players into the first team. It was great. And
that's how the boys were when I was starting to go to the games to get season tickets.
And it was such a feeling of it's hard to describe it, but every football player that I've met or listened to would always say coaching was second best, playing was the best thing, coaching's a brilliant second to it. It was the opposite. Coaching gave me more pleasure than football. I don't know why. I think I was a better coach than I was a player, if I'm being honest. And I think that's maybe what it was. But just the buzz of seeing somebody you've coached go and play in that first team, go and see them play for Scotland, absolutely. Some of them have played against Messi, absolutely brilliant. That's the best thing, And I think probably got a lot of credit. Wasn't just me, certainly. But believe I made my name Mason coaching probably at United. Looking through Armstrong and Gold and Johnny Russell and Ryan Dow and, God, Stephen Robson, another thing that go back to Dundee days, and he came out of United as well. So, guys.
Did you work with Andy Robertson?
I trained him. I could never say I coached him. I looked after him in the digs because he actually came as a sort of, he might have been in the youth team, but we can't have about 3 training sessions that he was going to be in the first team. If you asked me then, would he done what he done? I would have said no. Kenny would have a good career, but to be the absolute legend that he is, and what is he just almost up to Kenny Dalglish's caps now, and what a player in the World Cup, he's played in the Euros, frightening, and just the most humble boy you could ever meet. And he was actually cousins of Stevie Fair, my good mate. Shaggy phoned me to say, Stevie, we've released him. Shaggy was at Celtic, doing the same as me, and when they released him, Shaggy couldn't say, come on, keep him, because it looked bad, because it was his cousin. He said to me, you're getting an absolute gem. Because he had a few clubs that...
Was it Queen's Park he went to or something?
Queen's Park. He went to Queen's Park and just played part-time. Him, Shankland and Aidan Conley were the 3 that came out of that, and then went on to be... And Blair Spittle, sorry.
Shankland was there as well?
Shankland was there as well. I remember the one, Blair Spittle, and 2 of them came to United. 3 of them came to United.
United gave them good money for him. Set of trackies in £1,000.
No, that was Gary Patterson, wasn't it? Exactly. So mental. But so there was days if the first team were off and then the young boys in and Andy would come in. So yes, I've coached them, but that's certainly no credit for that. The other guys, of course, you invest hours upon hours with them, but all worth it for the relationship that you have with them forever. I mean, even Stu, his dad picked us up, went down the Euros. Again, it was a bit of COVID and that, but to sit with his family, he's saying, this would have happened with you, Stevie, watching them sing Flower Scotland against Czechoslovakia. We didn't win, but best feeling in the world.
It's like what you say, when players, like when they're going through this development, like how you were saying about Jockey earlier on, how important he was for you.
Incredible.
Like, players never really forget this, do they? The early influence.
They definitely didn't. And that's the best thing about it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's funny because a lot of them, especially in Dundee, I'm now coaching their sons or daughters in the academy. And you're thinking, what? That's when you're getting out.
You weren't a bad player either. You're a good left foot.
No,
it was good.
Not bad.
How did that? Right, if you were coaching to start with Dundee, like how did you end up with United? Because like I said at the start of this podcast,
yeah, just get what it's football, and I'm definitely no bitter, but it hurt us. I'm not going to lie. More as a coach than as a player, because I think as a player you just realise you know, it's just a game. Steve Pittman had come in as a player, and he took my place. He was a brilliant left back. Again, a good friend as well.
Another
Williams, mental, absolutely mental. But you didn't mind, just sort of think, like, I went to college, so you just got on with it. And I had a lot of injuries as well, which didn't help. But as a coach, you give your whole life to it. Keep going on about this bubble. You're in a bubble. You don't see your wife, you don't see the bairns. You're just obsessed with doing the job, and that's what I've done for Dundee for 5 years. Because I went full time after talking about going part time with the S-Forms. I then moved to 21s, and this was Havano time. I moved to 21s and 18s. So Jinky was saying to me, come, and that was just at the time that I'd just done my cruise ship at Brecon. So it was perfect. I was at the college with KC, who was the boss, so I fitted in perfect to start the under 18s. And my first team was Kev McDonald, Paul Dixon, Scott Roberts. So we started to produce more there, which was great. So we've done about 5 years of that, and still plenty of players coming through, and then we got relegated. We actually escaped administration. Loads of my pals paid off, Paul Baiders, Robbie Layside, KC. So we kept it going. It was a bit of a shadow coaching. It was hard. It was like a stay effects. You know, one of the worst days of our life, watching kids and big players as well, your Cavaliers. That was a horrendous day.
I remember
Jim Duffy dealt with it amazingly well. And we just had to go on with it. But it was at the end of that year. We then got relegated, famous day at Livingston. And then the Kenneth was going to get a contract. I'll not go on about it. It was a bit bad the way it done. We actually funded it. It was actually funny because it was me and my sister at the Pinecone, I was telling you earlier, and Tony Dock had texted about getting sacked that morning. And then I said, Molly, that's what happened to me and Jinky. We actually got dealt on the Player of the Year the night we'd been relegated at Livingston. We've had a thing, and Duff said something that night about, I want to thank Stevie and Jinky, two absolute legends for the job they've done. I'm thinking, well, nobody's telling me I'm getting sacked. So anyway, we're sitting in a few bevies and Player of the Year. I can't remember what it was, but it's a bit of a somber occasion because
I was at that night. It was terrible, yeah.
So what happened, Steve Ridiculous, was that the boy Harry, it was somebody from D for Life anyway. Jinky goes to the toilet and he comes back and says to me, Steve, come on, we're going. I'll be right, I've got a double vodka and coke, I'm not going anywhere. Come on, we're going, get your coat on. I'm not sorry, going Moss and all that. I said, Jinky, what are you talking about? He says, look, because Jinky was like my boss, he was above me, he was brilliant, and the best coaches I've ever worked with as well, and the laughs we had as well. But he goes, we're getting sacked in the morning. I went, what? He says, boys just tell us the toilet. So it was a boy for D for Life, didn't realise that we hadn't been told. Shook Jinky's hand after they'd done their pee and washed their hands, and says, you and Stevie, so sad that you've gotten binned. So they were on the board sort of thing, the fans board or something. So Jinky took me across to the bond, never forget, we had about 25 shots, and that was it. Funnily enough, went on the Monday, didn't actually get sacked till the Wednesday, but then I went to Inverness with Craig Brewster, and everybody says to me, Brew, top boy, United legend, Stevie, you'll end up at United. I said, don't be stupid, I wouldn't do that. 6 months up at Inverness, funnily enough, working with me, number 2 at Inverness, just texted the other day as the boy just won the league, Scott Kellicker, great lad. She was my number 2. I sort of moulded him. We had sort of been moulded into me coaching Jinky and KC. So it was my time to pass it on to Kel. It was great to see him going and winning the league with Inverness. He's a total Inverness man. But of course, Friday the 13th of January was the day that we drove down the road to join United. And the rest is history. Made it 10 years there as well with Brewster.
It gets described to me as this is what the problem was back in the day. We had to watch so many. Was it twice they won the Scottish Cup, or was it 3 finals they got to?
So finals, yeah.
3 finals.
We lost in with Andy Robertson, Stewart, and that played to St Johnson. Shouldn't have just.
Yeah, Stevie May.
Yeah. Listen, one of my good mates, Paul Mayers, is on the other bench, and Jackie put me on the bench at United because he'd felt that it brought through a lot of the players. I was always just interested in youth. But in fairness to him, I know I ended up fanning out in the end, nobody kens that. But I never look back with bitterness even to how that ended either. The United fans, believe it or not, still to this day, treat me incredibly, better than I was ever treated at Dundee. And it's quite ironic when I think about 17 years of my life to Dundee and 10 years of my life to United. And I mean that, it's 27 years, exactly half my life. You devote it. Devote it totally. Would never change it, but when I came out it and went to Brecon and started to do what I'm doing now, I vowed I wouldn't go back in full time because there was another life out there that I realised a year out. I was sort of fighting my case against United, and I just thought, why would I want to go back in? Can we finish now at the SCFA on a 1 o'clock on a Saturday? And I remember Jinky saying to us after we got sacked at Dundee, that's a great feeling. You're free. He was free on a Friday night, he was on the build site at the time. You're free on a Friday night, we're free at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. You didn't get sent to a game, you didn't have to go to a game, you had no support from anybody, which is a strange feeling. You could put a coupon on legally now, legally for ages, and it's just a free, you know. I'll be honest, I watched the derby the other week and I wasn't supporting anybody. I was just watching the game and supporting whatever bet I had on at the time. So it's just a strange feeling for giving half your life as a Dundonian to the clubs there, and the kids at the academy are forever asking me, what's your sport? You done it? I usually say Brecon, because I've got a soft spot for Brecon obviously as well. So brilliant, absolutely.
You say you're enjoying like the more of the free time to yourself then?
It's just a different life. It's just not as intense. You're still doing what you love, which is helping kids. You know, a couple of the boys, more than a couple of the boys. We've got 2 sort of classes that can be elite classes as well. We like to do it for the kids that just enjoy football, but we've also got elite classes where we coach a lot, and it's the academy players and all that. So I think about 8 or 9 of what I signed for Dundee at under 17s, and it's great because I speak to the dads of that, and a lot of them are Dundee fans and can remember. But you speak to them about, that was me 40 years ago, and you're giving them advice. Sometimes you just can't believe it, you know. And as I was saying, we've got Robbo's lad in, I've got Dowser's lad in, I've had Stephen Robb's in, Streety's daughter in. You're like, again, you coach them, now you're coaching their sons or daughters, and you see the same mannerisms as what it was when you were coaching them, and then you start to think, look, it's maybe time to retire. You know what I mean?
See doing the youth coaching for the professional clubs, is it like, see when players are getting like kept on, what is that like?
Worst. Just speak to Robbo the other day, because he's had to release 8 under 18s. That without a doubt was the worst part of the job. It was horrendous. You're breaking their heart. I just always felt, be honest with them, it's a professional decision, it's not personal. We'll help you as much as what we could, which I always did, try and get you another club, but we just didn't feel you'll make the next step at Dundee United. And you do that with the majority, let's be honest, the way it is. There's only 1 or 2 each year that are going to make it and be stars, and so that's the hardest thing. But even that's changed now. I mean, the scouts are coming to laugh at my academy at 6 years of age now. 6. You know, it's
exactly.
Just, I don't agree with it, but I don't want to be hypocritical because I've done it all my life. I was on the other side at both clubs, but it wasn't quite, I would say it. Well, there's me telling you I've signed at 16, but went in at 12. They're going in at 6 and 7 now, which I think looking back, I think the best way to go into clubs would be secondary school. I think they shouldn't be in till.
Do you think there's too much pressure like that?
100%. And the mums and dads put them under too much pressure. TikTok, this, that, Sunday, this, he's at Celtic, he's at Rangers. I just think, why put them under that pressure? Let them enjoy football. If they're good enough, they'll get picked up. But there's a lot of money in it now. Agents. It's definitely changing.
They're fair in case they miss something, aren't they? They're fair in case they're totally fair in case they miss it.
But again, it wouldn't have changed yet. I'm involved in it to a lesser extent now in terms of that. But I still sit with my cronies. I'll meet Scott Robertson, who's the 17s and 19s coach at Dundee. I'll meet Dicker. He's the same at United. I'm almost like their KC. KC was my go-to and mentor. I'll pass on anything they do.
You're the man with the goods.
and it's what you say. The respect they've got for me is incredible. I've got both their Scotland taps. It's brilliant. I mean, Dicker made his debut for United against Messi. Doesn't get better than that, does it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, it could have, because Messi scored a hat-trick against them. But
was that the
5-1 game?
You know what? There's a picture of Messi in that stadium as a kid. Did they play that before that? And Henry and everyone played.
The year before was at that game. Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
Gave him a high five at training, and that was 1-0.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, because there's a picture of Messi. I think it's just like.
And then Messi was the following year,
mm-hmm.
Which I missed. Couldn't believe it. That was typical. Here's a typical example. So the year before, Levine in charge. I've said on the day of the game. In fact, what was funny was there was a goalie at United called the Monk.
I remember him.
We actually signed him the morning of playing Barcelona that night.
Polish?
Polish. I can't remember his right name, but we called him the Monk. So Levine said to us, we were playing Barcelona that night, Levine says to me and Scott Thompson, the goalie coach at the time, he says, Stevie, he needs a wee session before the game of night. He's just come in last night, he's in the hotel, blah, blah, blah. But no problem. But we're training at Baldragon. So me and Tom will have to put trailers on the back of the bus, picked the monk up to Baldrag. No joking, yeah. Whacked down the hill, the flumming school kids coming out, teachers, how you doing, Stevie? Yeah, no bad, just trying to sort this boy who's played Barcelona. He gets like, this is football. It's ridiculous. So Tom, from the hammer and goal, pegs into the goal, getting the goal, the boy must be thinking, what the fuck have I done? Signing for this club. He saves a penalty against Chile that night, training at Baldrag in the middle of kitten in the morning, you know. People going about scooters now, you know. Ridiculous. But what was funny was, Susan, we stayed at the top of the road. Susan used to come down with a wee coffee and cakes and that for me. She comes down that day. In for me, in for Tom, and in for the monk. And she says, "Whoa, you can't do that. The boy will think this is a flaming picnic," you know what I mean? He's just ridiculous. But these sort of things, that's what I love about football. I was telling Steve earlier, even go back to Dundee days as a coach. Claudio Caniggia used to come in after training. We were in the office, which is right as you walk out onto Dens Park in the wee tunnel. The office was just in there to the right hand side. That was your office. We'd have a footballs and upstairs. So we're sitting there, me and Jinky, every day after training, Ken got our 21s, 18s. Caniggia used to come in and hey, that tiny wee coffee with us every day. And I'm sitting, honestly, kicking Jinky under the table, saying to me, am I sitting with Claudio Caniggia? That was just surreal. You know
what was he like?
He had a stomach like a bloody washboard, honestly, we couldn't believe it. He'd come in with his hair all straggly and that, and you're thinking, jeez, but we got him speaking about Messi at the time. It was Maradona, obviously, before Messi come along, and it was just great to get stories about him and all that, which I can't tell you on there. That's definitely when you hear the stories about that. But it was just ridiculous. Of course, Ravanelli and that as well, incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy they were at the
They
club.
days were just.
What was Benetti in that like?
Different, definitely different. There was a bit of a divide, I'm not going to lie. Peter brought him in after Jockey. We were big Jockey fans.
He sacked Jockey when Jockey got him fifth.
Yeah. And then they never got better than that. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was just ridiculous. I mean, me and Jink used to have meetings and that, and but he would come in, he'd bring his wife in, and she was like a fucking page 3 model. I mean, we couldn't concentrate on the football side. Jinky's kicking me under there, and she was beautiful, again. As I had Sarah's and Anne were at that time, it was like a flipping fashion show. It was just so ridiculous. But eventually we started to get on with it. It was a wee bit of divide in the first bit, but because we were just sort of looked upon as the youths, if you know what I mean, and they really didn't bring too many through at that time. It was so hard, you know, no wonder. But eventually Barry Smith was in, Gavin Ray, and that was actually just with Gav that a week there at Marcus Daly's 50th. Great to catch up with people you've not seen for ages. And again, you just can't believe that they've played with these boys. It was just.
But Gavin Ray's a Dundee legend, is he?
Absolutely,
legend.
Absolutely. Again, 48. He was telling me we were in Dublin just the other week there, and we just caught up like we did. We talked about the Mardi Gras, you know. You're like, it was ridiculous. Again, absolutely ridiculous. But great days.
What would you say your favourite team that you've coached or youth team that came through was?
God, I don't think it's a team. It's because you're always, it's individuals, isn't it? And I wouldn't like to say a favourite because there's been so many.
Ryan Cobb, remember you mentioned his name? He was pitched to beat
Messi.
That's what they called him. Yeah.
Again, another one just so humble, and he wasn't made for Scottish football. Definitely no. He was one that. He moved, and a lot of people would say it wasn't the best move.
Sporting Lisbon he went to, was it?
Sporting Lisbon, went a few loans out there, came back to Hibs, didn't really work out for him. Went out to Canada. And what a player, unbelievable. But I must admit, the talent at Dundee and at United, the Johnny Russells, Armstrongs, you know, frightening, absolutely frightening. Stu was one that, usually as a coach, I was talking with Jim Carroll there, a scout, he would sort of give the player 12, 13, whatever, and then you try to make them the player in terms of the hours that you put along with other coaches and nothing else you do, video analysis and all that. But Stu was in that he actually scouted myself because he was up at Inverness and he came down when his mum and dad had split up. So scouted him myself, assigned him myself, and then when Jackie put us on the bench, I actually helped him through his integration into the first team. So I would never say he's my favourite, but he's in that I've done R&B.
Yeah, the full process, yeah.
Rather than just bits and bobs like the Dickers and the Robos and that.
Did he ended up at Celtic, did he?
He's at Aberdeen now. He went to Celtic, probably the start of the demise at United, if I'm being honest.
Because they took him and Kai Stephen at the same time.
I've got his last shirt that he wore. Susan's no managed to throw that out yet. She'll probably throw it next week. But I've got that in the house. And I'd actually went in his room on the Friday night. We're playing the Saturday in the semis against Aberdeen. But the deadline was on the Sunday. They actually said to me, I wouldn't go to Celtic or Rangers TV. I wouldn't want to play against United. And he phoned me on the Monday night, the night of deadline day, to say, I've got bad news for you, Steve. It was 10 o'clock at night. I'm back at Tannadice after a double session. And they were talking about the rules that you do, 10 o'clock at night. I was like, it was ridiculous. But Dicker had just came back and he was in with my boys. And he'd been doing it, Huddersfield and that. So he was coming back to United. And them said to Dicker, oh, you'll have GMS in front of you, Stu. I was like, what a team we've got. Stu phones us. Him and GMS are getting the medical done at Celtic. And that was it. It was never the same. I didn't think.
No, that was the end for them.
It was.
Because from there then they got relegated.
Yep.
Was it 3 years they got relegated after that?
It was 2 years. It was 2 years.
But it's football, is it? And then they went in again, United, Dundee.
Well, see, like that begs the next question. I don't know if you want to talk about falling out with United, but to me, like I said at the start, this is how it was described to me. You were bringing these players through, and like this was a horrible time to be a Dundee fan. It was that?
But it was till they went, and that was it.
It was surreal. It was surreal for me in the sense that I go back to get sacked, and I was a professional, and I was totally dedicated to my job, so it was great satisfaction, even though it was against the team that I supported, that these boys were showing, for United, get it up, Dundee sort of thing, and I was right behind it, I kind of led, so that was great satisfaction. To go towards the end, the writing was on the wall a year before that, just had a fight with Jackie, probably a year of no speaking to them. Darren said they thought I'd backstabbed them to a certain extent. Stephen Thompson had collared me and made me sort of admit things that they were doing that he can't anyway, and he went back and told them. So that was me absolute snake to them, and I can understand that. We've never spoke since, so that was why he tried to do and that he did. I just when I look back, I mean, John Muir phoned him up. I went to see John Muir. John Muir phoned him up and says, "Look, I've never seen a case like this in my life." Who was talking to? He said, "Could you just pay him out now?" He says, "Because I've been 30 years in law," he says, "and I've never seen a case like this in my life where," he says, "I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll send you an email now. If I lose this case, I'll resign for law." That's how confident I am. So that's how you can. It was bullshit, you know what I mean? Hard time, people were saying, "Oh, Stevie, did you do this? Did you?" No, of course you didn't. Anything I did in the past, did you say to the boys? Yes, of course you did. Every youth coach did that. But I never did anything to the detriment of the boys. It just got nasty. And when it happened, I remember my brother said this, "That's brilliant, because I was at your house the other night, you didn't even ken. I mean, Susan, you were like a heart attack, you were led on the city like that." Because not only the work, the toxicity was just horrendous. So actually, we had a wee toast to Jackie, believe it or not, when we had a wee drink in the house, because it changed our life. We've got cruises, we've got the academy, went to Brecon. I probably, be deadly honest, I was never going back full time. Brecon had a lot of time for, we were successful first year. Me and Barry even got the guy. It was great to work with Barry Smith, but didn't work out. Me and Mark Wilson, who's been great with Barry Thistle, didn't quite work out. They were on a sort of downward spiral. You see it happening to other clubs, like Inverness, with a bit like that. What has it happened recently? Hamilton, it could happen.
Ross County as well.
Ross County, that's it. I'm thinking of Ross County, God. And I didn't get much of a bad coach or a bad manager. I didn't get the same buzz as what I did progressing players, developing players, and seeing them get in the first team as I did winning a game on a Saturday for Brecon. And I didn't think I put myself 100% into it, probably because I made the decision to FC United. So I had to come out. I did it in lockdown, and I think I've had about 18 offers since to go back in, but no for me, definitely.
Just set on what you're doing, yeah.
Totally.
So what's the pressure like in that role then? Like
what now?
Well, yeah.
There. There's Susan used to say to me, I put myself under pressure. I think the pressure is what you make it. I even speak about Robbo these days. Robbo, probably like myself, will be working day after day after day. If he gets a day off, he'll not take it, because he thinks I better get this, That's the way I was. It just engulfs you. When I met Davy Longwell, great lad, pal of mine for St Mirren days. Davy was the same as me. He was bringing to John McGinnon and when I was with your Golds and Armstrongs and all that, Scotty Allen's. So me and Davy met, because he's now the number 3 at Dundee. You see him on the bench with Steve Presley. So we met the other day. We made us, because they were pals at St Mirren, just for a catch up. But when Davey went, I said to Paul, he's just so focused on about what I meet scouts and what I do. I said, that was me. And so 10 years, you're just so...
It doesn't sound healthy.
It's no healthy.
That's what I was saying to ask.
I mean, if you go to the other extreme, which I never went to, I mean, even when I saw Craig Levein going back in the break-in, I said, does he not like Carroll? Does he, what is he doing? He's come out at it. It's just in their blood. It's just in their blood. They hated it. That year, sort of nearly got to Court and United before I got paid out. That year just taught me, and not the day with what happened, I just saw the life out there. The Jinky tell us about 10 years earlier when he got binned at Dundee. I did the kind that was there. And it's just great. It's just a great life. That you think, if you go to football, if you look at Jim McLean or Alan Ferguson, they did the ken their wives, did the ken their parents. When that year, I just thought, wow, this is brilliant. And that's why the academy, breaking to a certain extent.
You've catered that to do something that you love, but like just to do it
absolutely
to the time you want to dedicate to it.
I've got to, credit Fergus Storia, because Ed went down to Nottingham coaching, and I didn't want to be laughing at him. Great money. Ian Murray was there, Joe McBride, John Hughes, Stevie Frail that actually got us doing. We were doing coaching in Nottingham, and Robbie Rayside, a pal of mine, from Dundee days, phoned us. Said, remember Fergus Storia? I said, big Dundee fan. He's
a nice lad, Fergus.
A great lad, ex-policeman. He's got this thing. You fancy come up from Nottingham. Spoke to him on the Sunday. Was meant to go back down. Phoned him. It was what's his name? Joe McLaughlin. He ended up seeing him again at Albion Rovers. Joe played for Chelsea and all that. It was Duff's mate. And I phoned up Joe. I says, I'm not coming back. I said, what? From people. I said, Fergus, that was it. Into showcase. It was Skills Academy at that time. Then we changed it to Stevie Campbell. Brilliant. It's great. It's just so rewarding as well. It's just so. Anytime I'm tired going in, the kids just get you going. And it's boys and girls. We've got about 100 girls, about 500 altogether, from the age of 4 up to 18, and it's so much more relaxed. We're still serious about our football. And people like Keith Gibson's there that I coached at Dundee as well. We've got great other younger coaches as well, and it's just such a good atmosphere.
I always see you buzzing about that showcase.
God, I used to come on at 8, don't you?
Yeah,
we're finishing, and it's. I mean, my family have always said this, but they did realise what happened at United, and they did realise the work I put in. But they've always said, well, there are teachers and from doing this, and most of them are retired now, fireys, whatever, nurses. But they've always said, Steve Campbell, we'll get together a family. You've known what to do in your life, and it's probably true. I left scale. I played for the club that I loved, won the league.
Let's see what.
Played against Liverpool. Yeah. Played for Rangers. Keep that quiet. Scotland. You look back and you think, God, how lucky have you been? Could I have done better? Of course I could have. I didn't fulfil my potential. I'll admit that. The reasons for it, some of that my fault.
But you played in the great Dundee team.
Played in the great Dundee and made connections for life. And that, see, when you get older, that's what's about,
See, when you're talking about like you're consumed in the role, like especially with United, and it takes up all your time, you can't really do that unless you're living and breathing it anyway. You know what I mean?
You can't. And my favourite was, Susan said 2 things. Susan's not a moaner. She's time for football. She said to me once, she saw Mary me at Inverness and what she did at United. Like, how could that be possible? I was staying up there.
Yeah.
But it was true, and I can't exactly what you mean. Even when I was here, I wasn't. I'd be at a family thing, and then Craig Levein would phone, could you go down to the digs, pick up Prim Bob and do this, You're just engulfed by it. As I said, Saturdays, I think my favourite was, we'd done 39 days in a row. And I'd say to Susan, I'm getting Sunday off. She went, well, I'll believe that if I see it. I said, no, definitely. So Saturday had been a while. Watching Aberdeen or something United are playing next week. Get him, do the report, because you're thinking, when's Levein going to take Monday morning, go touch in at St Andrews for a coffee. Wake up Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, text for Levein. Stevie, when's under 12's playing today? 12 o'clock, Gaffer at Gussie. See you there. No, are you going?
See you there.
Went, got him at 7 o'clock. Because that was it. And that's what I see Rob on Dicker doing. I'm trying to advise him against that. You're just engulfed by the clubs. And
so they just expect you to give like 7 days a week, yeah.
Absolutely. And you do it, and you didn't think anything about it until obviously I had that year out, and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is going to be right. And I'm not saying other jobs on this, time consuming and tiring. Of course that are, but everyone again football, so I could only talk about football. And especially as a youth coach, it shouldn't be that, should it? But it is. If you're going to do it right, you're going to be successful. I think you've got to. And it's always to the detriment of your family. So whatever happens now, always put family first.
Was it COVID? Was it COVID that gave you that?
No, COVID COVID, no, well, it was a United thing, and then I went to Brecon and then joined that. COVID was when I gave up Brecon. I'd just thought, I can't be bothered going back and travelling to Dumfries and, Inverness, and you're part-time, it's not quite the same. Anyway, it still fought bad, I still enjoyed it. But after COVID, I just says, we actually doubled the academy, started elite classes now. Gibby left Elgin, Keith, I was telling you about earlier. He left Elgin as assistant manager, same as me. I was at Brecon assistant manager. Told Mark Wilson, just says, look, I can't get 100%, I need to get back for my business. And that was it. And I kent that would be it. I mean, even up until about last year, one of the boys at Brecon, Big Sean, who's manager of Queen's Park, phoned us up to be his assistant manager. And I'm like, oh God, it's so nice here, but those days are so far away.
Is there one job that can make you think about that?
Ken what he's got as assistant, and I take this as a compliment, Jim Duffy. So that's no bad. Yeah. That's no bad if he's comparing me to Jim Duffy. I'll take that any day. Yeah. Wee bit more hair than him, but not much.
Is there one job that you would consider taking if you got offered it? No.
Never. Because I'd like to think I fulfilled that I did. Especially the coaching.
That's a good way to look back. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. It's brilliant. And the thing is, they're still in touch. Dick was texting this morning for a coffee. I've texted Stu the day about he's going in for an op, and we had a laugh about him scored against his old team at the weekend. You'll never ever. I'm looking forward to seeing Johnny. I'm going to try and get Johnny in the car because he's back at.
Yeah, he's back. He's back here now. Yeah.
So it's great. It's brilliant. It's absolutely.
Where did the ideas for the elite classes and the sessions? Is it just that's the obvious thing you were going to do?
Ken what? It came back, and obviously you're looking at grassroots. Mm-hmm. And I can't have more off. I mean, getting up Brecon, I just thought I need to coach. I need to do something that's different from just playing wee games and doing this with the kids. So I was during lockdown just going for wax. It just comes through my head. I thought, right, that's what I'll do. And in fact, if I remember rightly, we went back in the other day one-on-ones, which has now become an epidemic. Abby loves one-on-one. Yeah. I didn't agree with them. I'm not saying I didn't agree with it. I just can't. It's more beneficial doing other things. So what happened was when Nicola Sturgeon said you could do 4s, 5s, to train still outside. You weren't allowed inside. COVID seems that long ago, doesn't it? And it seems ridiculous. Yeah. So we ended up doing wee groups of 6 and up at Burkey and then up at Ardler Scale. And that's where the idea came. I thought, this is good. I think we'll do reduced numbers in classes and do loads of drills, and it's just developed for there for the elite ones. So we've got 23 classes, 2 goalie classes, and 20 elite classes. So
it's funny how the passion always finds a way.
God, yeah. And as I say, the kids keep you passionate anyway. They do. I've actually had people come in that worked at United with me, and they've actually said to me, watch a session, they're like, Stevie, we can't believe this. You're still the same as what you were with Ryan Gold and John. I said, well, why would it not be? Want with my grandson and my granddaughter sometimes, and you're like, brilliant. It's the funniest thing ever. Right? Did I can't call his granddad or Stevie. I should call Stevie in the classes. I'm like, oh.
They'll be safer calling you Gaffer.
Yeah, I can. No, it's football's just, it's been my life, but as I say, it's starting a bit with a secondary pace part just now, but I'm still doing it. As long
as you're enjoying yourself.
No, it's great. It's getting as long as the kids are enjoying it. I think that.
I'm going to ask, what was your favourite moment playing?
I think it would have to be. God, probably don't be asked that question too often. Winning the league.
The 91-92.
Yeah.
Was that the Kelly strip? Yeah.
Yeah, well,
no, the 91 night. It was the one after that. It was the one
yeah,
had the red on the.
I've actually gave that tap to Joe's baby daddy Darren's brother. I gave him it years ago. But that would be one. Of course, playing for Scotland, playing in the World Cup, great, and probably scoring for Dundee. They would all come into the.
What was the first game you scored for again? Sorry.
It was my first goal for Dundee. My only Premier League goal was Motherwell, believe it or not. But I scored a few in the first division. Remember scoring against Bobby Guinness, a penalty when he was at Cali. That was good. I still lined him up about that. So kind of, I wouldn't say there's a certain that would be it, but if it was to be, I suppose it'd take me winning the league with Dundee.
Do people usually ask you more questions about the coaching than the playing?
It depends what age are.
Yeah. Just for being really saying like no one really asked us that, yeah.
I'm no interest in his coaching. I only want to get
he's just wanting the tap, and he's getting. I'll be here next week. I think I might have got on next week. Episode 15. You're going to hit that. Thanks, Steve. I promise.
If you chat when you're done.
Okay. We go back to
He said you were model. Did you know model for you in the 80s? You told me.
He modelled my Derry Rumba t-shirt.
You remember that?
I'm not sure model is go right.
Yeah, I was doing in England in
Ken,
the friendly.
That's so funny.
North Shields in the friendly.
Absolutely brilliant.
Just outside Newcastle.
West Saunders area.
Yeah.
What was the Derry Rumba tab?
Because I'd done the fanzine, so I sold some t-shirts and badges as usual at that point. So the t-shirts had come out. I needed a model, so he modelled the t-shirt. And I've still got the photo somewhere.
There's a blast for the past, isn't it? Fanzines.
You find the photo for Dick and stick into the...
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I will do. I've also got the picture where he's starting in the corner. There was only 3 Dundee fans doing the match on the Brandon FC, and you're starting in the corner. We're speaking in the corner.
Were you playing the game? See when it kicked... You said Clyde. See when it kicked off behind the goalie or something years ago?
No, I was Clyde Bank. That was after.
That was a lot. Tell you, one of my favourite games for Dundee was Celtic when Celtic won the league in 1988.
Yeah.
Again, as a young boy, I was still on like the duties. You put the kit and that up. And I can remember going into Parkhead, and I remember capturing the daily record. It was like the Dundee team bus coming in and saying, "Oh, you've turned up," because Celtic were obviously expecting just to bump us, which they did in the end. But we got down there, I was so nervous. I hardly had played any games. I kind of was starting. So I'm setting out the kit and Jock, he says, Stevie, calm down, you're playing today. So it's like 1:45. He says, go on out and check out the park. So you walk out on the Parkhead. It was full. It was actually full. I did a walk on at 1:45. And the nerves just kicked in at that point.
Yeah, that was it. There was more crowd in that than there should have been.
It ended up 69,000 in the game, and it wasn't meant to be. It was only meant to be about 55. But there was no seats of that at that time. It was the jungle and that, wasn't it? And of course, Jockey said, "Keep it tight. We'll try and get the crowd against them." And all that. 4 minutes in, I flogged the goal, and Chris Morris gets on the blind side of me and scores. But in the second half, I'm through 1-on-1 against Pat Bonner. Mick McCarthy had played it across the back, and to Chris Morris, who I was marking, but Ed nipped in, and I took a touch on, so here's Pat Bonner coming out again, massive. Tucks it round him on my stupid right foot that I couldn't have kicked me, and I could just see a sea of green and white. I couldn't even see the goal. It was through, and then I was singing "Walk On" and that. I missed, obviously. I hit a shot. I got cleared back off the line. I rolled it to Ian Angus, and we missed. Shocker, absolute shocker. Andy Walker then goes and scores 2 goals later on, and that's...
What's it like playing?
Playing for the 6th.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was brilliant. I actually remember having a laugh at Skills when we started Skills with Fergus, because we had Gary Bowen, Barry Smith, Robbie Racing, that. We were nervous about taking girls. We'd never coached girls in my life. And I'm looking at Barry Smith, fucking thinking, this is going to be hard. And I'm thinking, Bats, we've played at Parkhead, you've played first there, you're an absolute legend, played 60,000 here. You're just going to attack girls, but he was that nervous. He was just, because it was just so new to her. But
do the nerves for something like that settle, or if it gets in your head? See how you said you flogged the goal early. Does that go into your head? And
I must admit, looking back, I wish I'd been less nervous. But see, being a Dundee fan, and I'm a family being there, I'm not excuse me, I definitely had an effect on me. In this day and age, you would hear people in your mind, and you would go to other gurus. Now, you didn't hear that in the days. You just had Archie Knox or Jockey calling you for everything, you know what I mean? I got nervous for games. Colin Henry, I couldn't believe Colin Henry, ended up with Braveheart, playing World Cup and that. He used to be sick before every game. That was incredible. You're like, what? But he would go out and perform. Bobby Lenny, talking about him earlier, I can remember, he used to hear a wee glass of whiskey before every game. He would go into the physio's room, Eric who's there, there's Eric Ferguson there, and I caught him once. I'm like, Bob, what you did? He would put Eric's whiskey in a wee thing, calm his nerves out. Maybe that's why he scored that goal for 40 years again.
Screamer.
That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant.
You said that's your favourite Dundee goal, did you?
Yeah.
I think it was mine as well.
Favourite Dundee goal.
Yeah.
That's an absolute screamer, to be fair. Yeah, no, I just want to see that the nerves, how do you deal with that, or how you get on,
I suppose it does go. It does go when you get into the game, if you know what I mean. It definitely goes. Probably the same coaching. I'm probably more so coaching because you're so engrossed in tactics and a team changing information and all that as well, that you're probably so more engrossed. Albeit I did say to you when I was on the bench for United, I couldn't believe what exhausted me. The Derry and seeing my brothers and sisters, and nephews and nieces. Now I'm thinking this is so ridiculous. You know what I mean? But it was good. It was good. I'm glad I done it.
Dundee's a unique city for that, is it?
Without a doubt. And that's why I think, I say even the derby, okay, you're going to get a bit of trouble in hand, but when you watch Celtic Rangers the other week and what happened at the end of that game, Wouldn't happen. Yeah, your mates are United fans. That's how it, as I say, maybe it is unique to be a man that's worked for the both clubs and have got a brick in each place. I'd love to care if there's anybody else in Dundee could hold that accolade. And most of my family's Dundee, but there's United in there. United pals, Dundee pals. It's a friendly rivalry. You know, it's United relegate, United great, United win the league at the end. You know, we've had all that, but there's no hatred in it. There's no animosity. That comes from Dundee.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And that's why I was looking at the derby the other day. There was nothing better than when I played the derby being a Dundonian. But even coaching your Gary Kenneths and your Dickers and Roberts and boys for Dundee that are desperate, Stephen Robb. But, you know, just boys that want to play for the club. It's great. Is there enough of that now? I'm not so sure. Watched the Rangers boy the other week. We had a laugh with the Hearts player after losing a week ago at this time. You're like, what? I could just imagine Terry Butcher doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Come on, or Bobby Glennie for that matter.
Do you think the old school team mentalities are going then?
Definitely. That's the biggest change that
I used to see a lot of people kicking off at Man United about it. Remember like Bruno Fernandes and that?
Oh yeah. That's how I love watching Roy Keane. He's just
no nonsense.
Comedy gold. It's brilliant. It's absolutely tremendous.
My last question to you, bro, would be, obviously you've got so much through football, you've seen so many people come through, like what would be your advice to the younger generation who want to make it in football?
Oof. Well, stay off TikTok. Yeah. It's just about at a young age now, just be enjoying it, working hard. I've got plenty of examples and I'll use Scott Robertson and Paul Dixon. They were one of the best players when they were young. They would admit that, and they'll tell me that now. They, up to about 17, 18, were almost laughed at for the rest of their peers because there were so many better players. So this is the best advice I can give them. If you keep doing the right things, you will develop. So a bit of patience in there as well. The good habits, then they do what others do off the park. That's what they did. I called them slow burners. And the two of them played Premier League, played for Scotland, played against Messi. That's a great example to have, and that's what it is. And I do say it to a lot of the kids in my academy because they want it now. I also say to a lot of them that they might be in Scotland teams. They'll go in Scotland trials and they didn't get into Scotland trials. And I actually say to them, I'll say, Louis, do you remember me as a player? No, I don't know. I said, well, I played in all the Scotland teams. Do you remember Billy Dodds? Oh, yeah. I said, well, he played in any of the Scotland teams. So he got rejected all the way up. I said, then he played for the real Scotland. He played against England, played at Wembley, played in the World Cup, top scorer. I said, should it be Billy Dodds or Stevie Campbell? Billy Dodds. So it's not just about now, you're 13, you're 14, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep coming here, keep doing all the good habits, and let these setbacks motivate you. And of course, there's two examples that I'll use as well. Andy Robertson, well, you're 2-wee for Celtic.
Yeah.
Stuart Armstrong came to me when Aberdeen had told him, you're not strong enough. And then Inverness, coach will remain nameless, when I phoned him to say, could I have Stu? He says, oh, you'll never find a position for him. No, we did. 50 caps for Scotland, that's not a bad position. So, again, there's two examples of at that age. It's not about that now. And that's the age that I work weekend average. So, just keep doing what you're doing and just keep improving.
I like that. Never give up.
Yeah. And you might end up.
I'd rather be you than Billy Dodds because he's got massive ears.
Well, you're the only. That's the only time that somebody's answered Stevie Campbell and Billy Dodds. I'd rather be Stevie Campbell than Billy Dodds.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah. But you know what, I think it's great advice, mate. You've obviously spurred on a lot of people to go off to like a lot. And like you says, like,
and hopefully there's more to come.
Yeah, exactly. And like the people never forget the influence that you have. It's been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.
Anything else you want to ask, Steve?
No, big ears thing was enough for me.
Hey, he's going to ask for that strap.
Oh, he will be at you for that strap.
10 times
right.
More.
That's a promise. He's getting it. I'll be there, honestly. Promise you.
Well, thanks.
Listen, love seeing that, guys. That brings back so much fond memories for me. So
it's classy. You're standing there next to Albert Kidd, especially like how like everything that's going on right now.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to read the book, honestly, that I got from my parents.
Albert
48 years ago.
Absolutely banger of a strip as well. Dundee getting sponsored by Umbro and that's like it's a highlight.
Albert Kidd, is it time yet?
Yeah, I can't. I've just said that same to my brother. Jeez.
Well, again, Stevie, thanks for coming, mate. This has
for having us on.
loved hearing the stories and
Brilliant,
that.
superb.
Thank you very much, Chris.
This has been
Declan,
episode
nice to meet you,
14 of the Dundee Sole Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Go enjoy yourself. Good night.